So actually, some technical info on Seollal. The word Seoul is a prefix and is originated from the Korean words 낯설다, which means unfamiliar or new. So 날 in Korean means day in English, and Seollal marks the beginning of the new year. And before, in 1896, Seollal was celebrated yearly until the 33rd year of King Hojong, where the Gregorian calendar was adopted in Korea. So the Solar New Year's holiday was also celebrated, meaning New Year's Day began to occur twice in a year in Korea. So like I said before, celebrating 2 birthdays, in this case, celebrating 2 New Years. However, during Japan's colonial rule, Koreans were forced to celebrate Solar New Year's Day as part of cultural assimilation. However, little changed after the arrival of independence from the Japanese. Despite the lack of official recognition, many families kept the tradition of celebrating Seollal. So, I asked this before, but you had said that you also follow some Chinese holidays or traditions. So, personally, your family or your friends, do you celebrate Seollal, New Year's, or Lunar New Year's?
Actually, in Pakistan, it's not, they follow, Happy New Year the same as Western culture because new generation doesn't want to. But my father always say, today is a new year in Islamic way. And no one is actually, talk about religious stuff. Okay, that's old thing. We don't want to do that. We don't do that. We don't do that, but we have
not the New Year?
Not the New Year.
Only following the lunar calendar.
For Eid.
And you said that when is that usually?
The New Year?
Yeah.
It's in August actually.
August.
Yes.
So when you fast for that? Or
no. We fast in Ramadan.
Oh, Ramadan you fast. Okay,
so first month is Muharram.
Yeah.
So that month is actually, we don't celebrate New Year because it has like really kind of sad history in Islam history.
Okay.
So we don't do that. But yeah, that's actually our New Year. And it's similar to Korea, I guess.
Right.
In August, right?
And then, do you know anything about the origin of Pakistan and how that New Year was founded by any chance?
It's actually not only in Pakistan, it's all Muslim countries.
Okay.
So
it's religion based.
It's a religion based. And you got it right.
What's like, if you can give us just like a snippet of the history of that, do you happen to know like how did it come about? Like why? Or
it's actually just a part of religion, like we have in the history, like in the back when we, where our religion came from, they have this kind of months, and we are following that thing. No one actually knows about it.
Okay. It's just passed down from generation to generation and celebrating it. Okay.
Exactly.
And being here in Korea, you probably know a little bit about the history about how Japan would colonize Korea for amount of time. So actually the Seollal, right, the Lunar New Year, at one point, because of Japanese colonization and culture assimilation, it almost completely disappeared. So at a certain time, for the 30-something years that Japan was here in Korea, they said, don't celebrate the Lunar New Year because you're going to follow the Solar New Year. So that was almost disappeared. And then slowly, after they gained independence, they started to get back to their roots for Korean culture, like these holidays, or even back to like their names and stuff like that. So that's how it's gaining more, I wouldn't say popularity, but they're getting back to their roots of Korean traditional history, and this is included. So Seollal.
That's actually the best thing ever, like Korea didn't forget about their tradition. They want to pass their traditional history to generation to generation to their daughters and sons and then their grandchildren, right?
Yeah, and to think that it almost, like, if something in history didn't change, then it wouldn't exist now, right?
Yes.
So it's good that they're still able to do that. And besides Seollal that we talked a lot about, we also want to talk about a huge holiday celebrated in Korea, which is Chuseok. So Chuseok, it may also be known as a Korean Thanksgiving or autumn festival. And during the Shilla dynasty, it celebrated the bountiful harvests, a time when people pay respect to their ancestors. And it refers to the bright full moon that appears on the 15th day of the 8th month of the lunar calendar. So, can you tell me a little bit what you know about Chuseok being in Korea?
Okay, so for me, from what I know, is Chuseok is actually Thanksgiving. It's the same as in America. Like I thought when I came to know about Chuseok, it's like it's same as America because we don't have Thanksgiving things.
Okay.
We don't have it in Pakistan. So I was like, okay, maybe something came from America. But when I came to know about history, my friends told me no, it's about actually giving respect to your elders, and then enjoying with your family, having dinner, and spending your time with your family as much as you can.
Right.
And I came to know about this, like it has a really deep history in Korean culture.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought too in the beginning, was because I'm from the U.S. I'm like, okay, it's Korean Thanksgiving, but actually there's a lot of traditional and cultural points that are different. So starting from like the clothes, right? Like that is one of the main things. They wear traditional clothes. The food is a little different, but the similarities are that families come together and they eat together and they use this special time off from work or life. And because nowadays a lot of young people go to the cities to work and they're away from their families, this is not only like an excuse or reason, but really to take some time out of their life and kind of, spend time with their mom, dad, sister, brother, grandfather, uncles, whatever, and so forth. But I feel like even if you don't have a Thanksgiving in Pakistan, some of the holidays or a lot of the holidays, it's just a moment where families gather together, eat good food, and talk together, right?
Pakistan has so many holidays like
That's
this.
like that, right?
They
a lot of
want
holidays
a
are like
reason
that.
to be together and eat together.
Right.
They want a reason. They do it actually in marriages too. Our marriages is like quite long.
Yeah.
This is like they need reason for holidays and to eat together.
Right, and they probably celebrate it for a long period of time. Is it like a party kind of like?
Yeah, like I talked about Eid is two Eids.
There's two Eids.
There are two
Okay.
Eids. One is about, after fasting 1 month, we celebrate Eid. And
Okay.
one is after 3-4 months, it's about slaughtering animals. And
Okay.
we do barbecue together,
Oh,
It's
okay.
same barbecue as Korean barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
But we slaughter
Like
animals.
grilling the meat and cutting it
Eating
up
and
eating it.
enjoying, and it's like a whole feast with huge family. You have no idea, our families are huge. In marriages we have like 200 relatives.
Oh my goodness. So a lot of brothers and sisters, is that what it is? Or
No, it's like you have so many cousins. Like even in Korea, you don't talk to your distant cousins, right?
Yeah.
We have distant cousins, we have neighbors, and then neighbors' families, and
So everyone gathers for those special days.
Yes, we do that.
Okay, that's awesome. Actually, similar to New Year's Day in solar calendar, solar is celebrated on one day. So on New Year's Day. So and then in Chuseok, it's celebrated over 3 days. So there's like a few days off, including the weekend, up to 5 days that they can kind of like go home to their hometown and spend time with their family. And the main day for Chuseok is like on that second day. So if it's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Tuesday is the main day of celebrating Chuseok. So we're going to talk a little bit more detail about Seollal and Chuseok and what actually Koreans do on these holidays and how they celebrate it. So you mentioned a little bit about, the soup that they drink, right?
Yes.
And I mentioned a little bit about like the clothes that they wear. If I get into a little bit more detail on it, so both holidays are about tradition and bonding with family. And that involves a lot of people, young guys from where they work, like in the cities, going back to their hometowns. And that's why we feel a little left out as foreigners, right? In cities, all our native Korean friends go back to their hometowns.
Yes.
So, one new thing that, I don't know if you know or not, I want to introduce for you and our viewers for Chuseok, Charye, or ancestral memorial service. So what happens here is they prepare a table and with special food and offerings like fresh fruits, meat, vegetables, freshly harvested rice and rice cakes. So this table is prepared, and the family typically bows towards the table for the deceased ancestors, like kneeling down to one's forehead all the way down in a formal way. That's kind of like the main event of Chuseok on that second day. Were you aware of this, or have you seen this before in movies? Or
Yes, in dramas, I saw that table full of like fruits and, so many dishes and grandmas and, ajumas, like,
Yeah, they
they're
always
sitting
prepare that.
and the people who are young actually bow kind of in front of the older people. That's like giving respect to your
Exactly.
elders. But I wanted to ask like one thing that just came to my mind is that do they also give like money in envelopes? I didn't know about that.
yeah, so actually that's for Seollal. So
Okay.
I'll get to that in a second.
Okay,
But,
okay.
when you were talking about, bowing to their families, that's also for Seollal too. But for Chuseok, we talk about 성묘, which is when people visit their family graves and bow in respect to their ancestors. So people that have passed, and they kind of just take that moment to remember them and celebrate, their lives like that. And some interesting things, they play traditional games in Korea on these special days. So I've never played this before, but maybe you've heard of it. You've been longer than me.
Actually, my friends wanted me to play, but I couldn't understand those, words. There was like written Chinese on that.
So one of them is called yonori, which
Okay.
is like 4 wooden sticks. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes,
maybe?
yes.
So
that
I
one.
get confused about this too. It's like little symbols on the sticks, and each time you throw it, it means a different meaning, and you have to go on this board.
It's like this, like, right? They do this.
I think so. I'm actually. We need to play one day, maybe.
Maybe we need to learn that.
There's another game that's a little bit more direct. It's called Tejike, which is like kicking a badminton or a shuttle. So on Chuseok, they also celebrate it with playing traditional games. One of the games called Yonori has 4 wooden sticks. Have you heard of that before?
No, actually, I have seen in dramas, but I never played it. I tried to. My son was tried to teach me, but I couldn't understand.
So it's a traditional game, and I think on each side it has a special meaning when you throw it. And when you throw it, you like kind of go through the board, and once you finish the board, somehow you win the game. There's another game that's more direct. It's called Tegi Tagi, and that's where what they do is they have like a shuttlecock for badminton. It's more direct. You just kind of toss it in the air and kind of like kick it with your leg. There's probably like in America there's like another version of that. It's just like the same thing, but this is in a traditional way. The shuttlecock is very different.
I think I need to learn these games this time. Maybe this time I should play these games.
Yeah, well, Chuseok is coming up, so this will be a good opportunity to maybe go down with our friends to their hometowns and see what they do.
Okay, I have to invite myself. I understand.
Yeah, invite yourself. That's a good one.
Okay.
And even if you're not able to go down to your friend's hometown, they do usually have festivals to celebrate Chuseok. So in these festivals, they have a kind of like a competition called shirim. Maybe you've heard of it. Shirim is like traditional style wrestling.
I have seen it.
Oh, you've seen it before?
in
Okay.
dramas, not in real, in dramas.
Yeah, so I don't know, this year it might not be able to
Do it.
to do it because of the situation, but we can always, maybe they'll broadcast and you can watch it from YouTube or live, like the Olympics.
Maybe they will have live,
Yeah, they will
It is
probably
possible.
broadcast it. So shirim, traditional wrestling, it's kind of kind of like watching this kind of festival going on during Chuseok. Also, a very important one is called 강강살래, which is where women dancers, they join hands and perform like a mesmerizing series of dancers underneath the bright moonlight in celebration of the great harvest that is Chuseok. So this kind of 강강살래 is like a traditional dancing performance way back before in celebrating Chuseok, which was mainly the reason for celebrating Chuseok was like the great harvest, because back then they were all farmers. So because of so much plentiful food, they were celebrating, they're so happy and dancing.
I think I saw that in drama.
Oh,
Usually
really?
dramas have
Like-
those type of dances a lot. They also wear something on their nose and cover their like mask.
Oh, okay.
And
So
they're so beautiful dresses.
that's probably like in the older dramas, right?
Yes,
The
they're the
period
historical dramas.
Right. And this is my favorite part, the food.
Mine too.
The food of Chuseok. So the main food that they eat in Chuseok is called songpyeon. Do you know songpyeon?
Yeah, rice cakes. Obviously, I know.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm more interested in.
So it's actually, you had mentioned before rice cake soup. But in this case, for songpyeon, it's kind of just like a snack. It's like a small one, right? And do you like it? You've tried it before?
Yes, I have tried it, and this time I actually wanted to make it because I learned on YouTube the tricks, and especially the way they give the shapes of flower and everything. They decorate
It's
it so
beautiful.
beautiful. It's
And it
so
tastes good.
beautiful.
So I recommend, right, our viewers, if they have a chance.
Oh, for sure. That's the thing to, learn from Korean traditional things, the rice cakes,
It's very
especially the
different.
tricks.
Yeah,
It's
and
something special.
another one that is a traditional food on Chuseok is chon.
Oh,
Chon.
obviously. You also eat it in rain, right?
Yeah, when it rains, they eat chon as well. And for Chuseok, it's also a traditional food that they eat. The chon is a traditional Korean pancake, and it's made made out of wheat. But it can also be very savory. So in America, when they think pancakes, they think like sweet.
Yes.
But here, it can be made with meat and veggies. So it's very delicious.
One of the best in Korea, especially kimchi ones. I love it.
All right. So moving on to Seollal. This holiday is different because before it was more about kind of giving time with your family and celebrating traditional games and food, and also paying respect to your ancestors. So for Seollal is also, the similarity is that it's performing an ancestral rite. So there is a table that is prepared for prosperity of the family, kind of like more for the future. For like this year, we hope it's going to be a great year. So they prepare this table in expressing gratitude to the family and by sincerely preparing the food. So in this case, you had mentioned a little bit where they bow to their parents or their grandparents. And this is to wish the older family, the older generation, good luck. And they do this deep bow to the elders, and what they get in return is hebe.
Money.
세뱃돈. Exactly.
We also give money in Eid.
Oh, you do?
Our elders give us money in envelope in Eid.
Okay, so that similarity is
That
really prominent.
similarity. That's what I loved about this event, is getting money, because I'm the youngest one. So I get so much money.
Right. So that's kind of like the return. So younger generation gives like the respect and the wish for, longevity and health. And then in return, the elders kind of give them the blessing of a new year and to start off the new year with some money. So that's kind of the tradition there. And then lastly, we can't forget the food again for Seollal. So do you know Seollal, the
Which one?
the rice soup?
Cake soup. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know that.
Tteokguk.
Yeah.
So tteokguk, rice cake soup, is symbolic in 3 ways. So the reason why they eat it on Seollal because it's a new year. It's kind of like depending on which kind of tteokguk, but it represents like a long rope of longevity. And the slices are shaped like the coins, like traditional coins, and represents wealth. And then lastly, the white color represents like a purity, a clean start for the new year. So it has a lot of meaning just from the tteokguk.
I didn't know that, to be honest. I've always thought that there are so many types of tok.
Yeah.
Why they use the coin ones. Now I know it's
Right.
about the wealth.
Right.
It's interesting.
Like tteokbokki is like the long one, right? But
Yes.
then this one, you don't see the long one in the soup. You see like the coin
Coin
Yeah,
ones.
the flat ones. So in the past, this whole past few minutes or so and into our podcast, we just covered a lot of information from, the traditional background and also how it's celebrated. And these 2 very important holidays were discuss between us and to our viewers. So how was, this podcast? How did you feel about revisiting this?
I think I learned a lot today. I knew about the food, but I didn't know about the rice cake soup, that it has so much meaning. And it's like really, unique thing for me that Korea has so much. We always think that it's Thanksgiving. It's actually different. They have a lot of history. They have a lot of meaning. Everything has some respect to their elders. And yeah, I learned a lot today. I know more about Chuseok now and, everything.
And I feel like no matter how long anyone's been living in Korea, there's always something new to learn about. Like, it does help being here longer and getting used to the holidays and stuff, but there's always something new, right? Especially if we, as foreigners, we don't really get to celebrate it unless we actually go to a friend's house, but they celebrate it all their lives, right? And we're just kind of like an outsider coming in, and we want to discover with them and learn about new things. So I hope that, both of us or anyone else gets an opportunity to really get a deeper meaning behind these days.
Yeah, because after this podcast, I came to know about Chuseok more. So maybe the Chuseok that's coming, I will have, according to the things that I learned today, maybe I want to do the same things this Chuseok, or make, ask my friends to invite me, as I said.
We have to take this opportunity because it only comes once a year. If we don't this year, then we have to wait until next. So, obviously be safe and practice safely when celebrating. It could be difficult. And actually throughout this whole episode, I was surprised because I don't know too much about Pakistan. So the similarities between Pakistan holidays and comparing to Korean holidays, it was interesting to see the interpretation, but also, the way it's celebrated is different. So in regards to Pakistan and Korean holidays, do you have any closing statements between these two?
I think we share a lot of similarities when it comes to holidays. As I said, we have so many similarities, gathering together, giving money, giving respect to their elders. So I feel like, Korea can be my second home because, it has so many similarities in terms of food too.
Yeah.
So I'm quite shocked because I didn't know about Chuseok that they also give money.
Yeah.
So it's quite
Seollal
give money and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was just a holiday, but we share something
Exactly.
similar. I think it's Asian thing.
Yeah, and I think it's the meaning behind it is similar, but then just the way it's celebrated is a little bit different between each culture, right?
Yeah, everyone has their own way or little bit touch of their traditional and history, but in the end we have some similarities and
it's good to learn about
good.
both sides, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So concluding this episode, it was really lovely. Thank you, Zaini, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It was really interesting to compare, personally, I'm not very familiar with Pakistan, so I feel like I gained a new insight here. And especially the holidays is a very specific portion of the culture that we don't talk about very often. So this opportunity really gave us and also our viewers a chance to learn and discover about it. So these holidays are very important and historical day for Korean culture and society, which has been prevalent since thousands of years ago. On our next episode, we will be featuring another guest, so please look forward to it. And thank you again for joining us today on the MIKU Podcast, Melt into Korea with us. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.